You say you want change. You want to meditate more, heal your past, be more disciplined, more aligned. You want peace, clarity, growth. But if someone followed you for a week, would they see any physical evidence of it? Thinking about change feels productive. It feels sincere. It even feels spiritual. But thinking is not transformation. And the space between intention and embodiment, that's where most spiritual processes stall. I'm Lohan. Welcome back to Uncover Your Authenticity. Most people are not lacking awareness. They understand their patterns, they know their wounds, they can explain their triggers. Some people are extraordinarily articulate about their inner world, and yet nothing moves. Why? Because awareness is internal, transformation is participatory. Living in a physical body means change must pass through action. Insight reorganizes nothing. Understanding does not move energy. You don't pave a path by thinking about walking, you pave it by stepping. Maia used to say something very clear. Since we live in a physical universe, we pave our way through our spiritual process by demonstration. And she meant it literally. Every time you lie on the floor and pull the breath, you're making a physical demonstration to spirit that you had the intention to clear your past. Every time you sit in meditation, you're demonstrating to the universe that you're willing to participate in your own alignment. Not because spirit needs convincing, but because willingness must be embodied. Spirit responds to participation, not fantasy, not desire, not theory. Participation. There's a difference between asking for transformation and physically positioning yourself to receive it. And that difference is demonstration. For years, my meditation practice became secondary. My sleep schedule shifted, and by the time I woke up, I felt pressure to begin functioning, to move toward objectives, toward productivity, and I told myself something subtle. That practicing congruence throughout the day was enough. But it wasn't. Trying to stay aligned without deliberately realigning made the practice harder. My mind was louder. My reactivity was closer to the surface. My clarity required more effort, not dramatically, but measurably. I thought about reincorporating meditation for years before I actually did it. And when I returned to it consistently, I realized something humbling. I wasn't blocked. I was simply not demonstrating. And that's how subtle the stall can be. Here's where many sincere people stall. They love the language of growth. They consume teachings. They talk about alignment. They analyze their ego. They reflect endlessly. And it feels like movement. But reflection is preparation. Demonstration is movement. If you ask for healing, but never sit long enough to face yourself, you're not demonstrating readiness. If you ask for peace, but don't discipline your emotions, you're not demonstrating willingness. And if you ask for clarity, but never create silence, you're not demonstrating openness. Spirit doesn't respond to intellectual agreement. It responds to embodied alignment. What you physically demonstrate is what you're spiritually ready for. Demonstration doesn't need to be dramatic. It needs to be honest. 5 minutes of real breath. 5 minutes of silence. One restrained reaction. One conversation you've been avoiding. These aren't productivity techniques, they're declarations. They say, I'm not just thinking about change, I'm participating in it. And when you participate, the path reorganizes. Not because you forced it, but because you aligned with it. There's a reciprocity between demonstration and guidance. When you move, something moves with you. There's also a quiet cost to not demonstrating. When intention repeats without embodiment, your inner authority weakens. You begin to distrust your own declarations. Your words separate from your behavior. Your desire separates from your participation. And that gap creates spiritual fatigue. Not because spirit withdrew, but because you didn't step. So if there's something you've been asking for, healing, freedom, direction, alignment, ask yourself, what am I physically demonstrating right now? Not what do I understand, or what do I believe, or what do I intend, but what am I demonstrating? Because we don't think our way through transformation. We pave our way through our spiritual process by what we embody. And sometimes the smallest embodied step is the most honest prayer we can make. If this resonated, subscribe. I'll see you next time.